Hey, welcome to In the Closet. And tonight, Ange is solo. I'm at this alone. Jeff's at a business outing, a baseball game, a West Virginia Power game, and spouses were not invited as per usual. So you've got me alone. So I don't know how this is going to go. I've done one by myself. This is the second one. So we'll see how it works. I don't know. I'm pretty good at talking. I think it'll be fun. But I want to talk about parenting. Specifically, parenting teens, and even more specifically, parenting teen girls. Now, don't tune out if you have a baby, or if you have a toddler, or if you have a grade schooler, because guess what? The teen years are a-coming, so you better get ready, because it's a different time period. Now, first of all, I just want to say, I am by no means, no way, shape, or form am I a perfect parent. Dear Lord, I am not a perfect parent. You can ask my kids, they will tell you. You can ask Jeff, he will tell you. I'm telling you, I'm not a perfect parent. I'm learning as I go. I mess up daily. Actually, I probably mess up hourly, if I'm being honest, because no one's a perfect parent at all. I mean, I thought I was a perfect parent before I had kids, if you know what I'm saying. Because, before you have kids, you see, you're in the grocery store and you see the babies crying. You see the toddlers throwing fits. You see the teenagers doing stupid things and you're like, not my kid. Oh, yes, your kid. If you don't have kids yet and you think you're the perfect parent, you have a rude awakening coming, because you're not. You're just not. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but you're just not. They don't exist. You already know this probably, but I'm going to give you the rundown of my kids. Okay, you've got Maddie. She's 18. She just graduated. She's going to Marshall oh my word, in a few weeks. That's a rude awakening. Where did that time go? Anyway, you have Kaylee, who is actually turning 18 tomorrow. Dear Lord, I'm going to have two 18-year-old girls at the same time. She's turning 18 tomorrow. She is our adopted daughter. Then you have Brooke, who is going to be 16 next month. So if you're doing the tally, I will have a 16-year-old and two 18-year-olds. And then you have Nate, my son, who is 11, who's going to be in the 5th grade. The two, Kaylee and Brooke, will be going into their junior year of high school. Okay, so two juniors in high school, one going to college, a son that's in 5th grade. So no, I'm not a perfect parent. I don't have all the answers, but I have some experience with different age groups. And then you can tack on extra kids that are always in my house. Brooke's boyfriend is always here, whom we love dearly, whom also is going to turn 18. So I'm surrounded by 18-year-olds who think they know everything. They literally think I know nothing, think I live under a rock, think I've never experienced what they experience, and I don't know what I'm talking about. But they have all the answers. So, if you have any questions about life in general, about anything in this world, just go ahead and send me a message, and I'll ask one of my 18-year-olds, and I'm sure that they will solve your problem for you, because they think they can. They just think they can, and it's very annoying. But anyway, moving on. I have learned through the years, and I've evolved as a parent. I continue to learn as they grow, which is really very interesting, because, once I got them past the baby stage and the toddler stage, I thought, okay, I have this parenting thing under control. I know what I'm doing. And then they go through grade school. Grade school's pretty easy. You have some homework. You have maybe a little bit of bullying here and there. So you think, all right, I'm doing pretty good. And then they hit middle school. And I don't know about middle school boys yet, because, as I said, this is Nate's last year in grade school. He'll be in 5th grade. I have one more year there. So I don't know how boys are in middle school, but I know how girls are. And hands down, middle school girls, I don't care who you are the meanest people on the planet. I kid you not. I had 3 middle schoolers at one time, and I thought I would not survive. I thought it was going to be the death of me. I went to bed many nights crying, frustrated, mad, every emotion you can think of. Because, as a parent, you hurt for your kids. You feel for your kids. You don't want your kids to be upset. You don't want them to be hurt. You don't want them to be mad. You want them to always be comfortable. And you can't provide that for them because you can't go to school with them. You can't protect them from the mean girls. You can't protect them from their hearts being broken by their first boyfriends. You just can't. So it leads me to talk about a few things that I've learned along the way, a few tips that I might have for you. Again, I am not a perfect parent. I don't claim to be, but I have experienced a few things. So let me just start by saying, no matter what you think, your kids will not be perfect. You may think they will be because you may be holding your little teeny tiny baby in your arms right now, and they're cooing and they're sweet. They do no wrong, but guess what? Like I said, it's a coming, and they are not perfect. They will throw tantrums. They will embarrass you in stores. They will scream at you. They will talk back. They will slam doors. They will have messy rooms. They're going to lie. They're going to sneak around. Maybe they're going to try drugs. Maybe they will drink before they're supposed to. Maybe they will have sex at a young age. You know what? Maybe even you will catch your child sending nudes on social media. Maybe they will skip school. They're probably going to get in fights. They're probably going to cheat on a test. It will happen. No matter what you try to do, no matter how hard you parent, no matter how strict you are, kids are going to rebel. Kids are going to do things they're not supposed to do, and kids are going to embarrass you. The only thing that you can control is how you react to all of that. That's the only thing you can control in the situation. And when my girls started middle school, I didn't have that mentality. Okay, I didn't think my kids were going to do some of the things that they did in middle school. No, not my kids. I raised them better than that. You can raise them as well as you think that you can. You can be as strict as you want to be. They're going to find some way, shape, or form to go behind your back and do things they're not supposed to do. The only thing that you can do is control how you react to all that. And I have learned how to react. Now, initially, the first instance that happened where I was literally as a parent the first time, and I'm not going to share what it was because it would embarrass my child, and a lot of you know my children. But the first major thing that happened, I was in such shock and awe. I thought I was a failure as a parent. I thought there's no way that I am parenting the way that I'm supposed to, until I started sharing what my child had done with some of my close friends and some people that I trusted that I knew wouldn't judge. And come to find out, it happened to them, it happened to their friends, it just happens. You're not a bad parent. You are not a bad parent if your child messes up, because they're going to mess up. Okay, so I got that out of the way. Another thing that I've learned is that you need to grow in parenting as your child grows. And what I mean by that is you parent a certain way. Obviously, when they're babies, you have to take control. You have to take care of their every need. They depend on you for their every need, for changing their diapers, for feeding them, for taking them to the doctor. They can't speak. You have to try to interpret their cries, figure it out. As a toddler, they have still a great need for you. But what I feel like a lot of parents do, and what I've seen some of my friends do, is that you get stuck in the toddler and adolescent stage. You get stuck in the stage where you do everything for them. You make their life comfortable before they even have to ask for it. You take care of their needs before they ever even need to sneeze that they need it. And it's very dangerous to get stuck there. Very, very dangerous to get stuck there. You have to grow in parenting as they grow. You have to parent different as they reach these different stages in life. What I mean is, first of all, don't try to fix everything, okay? And I'm talking specifically about teenagers right now, but it also could pertain to younger children as well. Start early in their years. Start in grade school, not trying to fix everything right away. Let them try to figure out things on their own, within reason, obviously. But they need to hurt. You need to let them hurt. We don't, as parents, especially as mothers, I feel like, we don't want our kids to ever experience hurt or pain. But that's not doing them any justice. That's actually doing them an injustice, to never let them hurt, to never let them feel pain. So don't try to fix everything. Okay, ladies, it's like, let me try to explain it this way. It's like when you go to your husband and you tell him feelings that you're feeling. Maybe you're upset about something. Maybe you're stressed about something. Maybe you have anxiety about something. And you go to your husband and you tell him, and he tries to fix everything, and it just makes it worse. Don't try to fix everything. Same thing with your kids. Sometimes trying to fix it makes it worse because they're not learning a lesson there. Also, allow them to think for themselves. Here's a big one for me, and it took me a while to learn this because, again, as babies, as toddlers, they kind of naturally think how we think. Oh, mom and dad think this way. Oh, mom and dad do this. I'm going to follow in their footsteps. I'm going to do this. Well, guess what? When they get to middle school, and especially high school, they start thinking for themselves. And they might not have the same views that you have of life, of religion, of political issues. I was raised, and I had great parents, don't get me wrong. My mom was amazing. My dad was amazing. But my mom often made me feel like I needed to think a particular way. This is the way it is. If you don't believe this, you're bad, you're wrong, you're going to hell, whatever it is. I kind of had this mentality with my girls, actually, probably up until recently, until they started expressing how they felt about certain topics. Let me just give you the example. I had a discussion with Maddie, again, going to college, knows everything anyway, about pro-life, pro-choice. Now, I am 100%, we've already talked about this on the podcast, I am 100% pro-life. You're not going to change my mind. I will listen to you. We can have a friendly debate, but I'm not wavering on that. And that is just my opinion. That is just how I feel. I am 100% pro-life. Well, my daughter, whom I raised, whom I assumed would be pro-life as well, came to me one day and blatantly told me that she's pro-choice and argued that point. At first, I got very defensive, and I said, how in the world could you be pro-choice? And I came at her, and she came right back at me with valid arguments. Still didn't change my mind, but valid arguments. You have to let them think for themselves. I have to allow her to have those views, to have that opinion. We often put our kids in this big shelter and put them in this box and say, you have to think this way because I think this way. Again, doing them an injustice. It's not going to serve their purpose at all. And actually, they're going to not talk to you, not share things with you, and not be open with you. So allow them to think for themselves. Obviously, they're not always right, and we know this. And we have to talk to them and guide them in particular ways. But at the end of the day, they have to think for themselves. Another thing that I learned, kind of a hard way, was to not bail them out. I refuse to always bail my kids out. Now, I did through grade school kind of a lot, okay? If they were in grade school, they forgot their lunchbox, I'd bring them to them. If they forgot an assignment, I would run it to it. And then I stopped one day and I thought, I am running myself ragged and I'm not teaching them a thing if they do something and I fix it. I bail them out. So I stopped doing that. So one day in middle school, one of the girls texted me that she forgot her lunch. And I said, well, that sucks. You're going to be hungry all day. And she proceeded to text me numerous times about how mean I am. Do I want her to starve? She's so hungry. She's going to pass out. And I said, and it was hard to, but I said, oh, well, knowing obviously she's going to survive. She'll be home in a few hours and she's going to eat. But I guarantee you, me not taking her lunch that day, she won't forget her lunch again. I promise. And she hasn't. because she felt that. We need to let our kids feel that. We also need to, I feel like, again, I've learned this, is let discipline fit the crime. Okay, so when they were in middle school, I always went to the I'm going to take your phone discipline. Everything they did, every single thing they did, give me your phone, give me your phone, give me your phone. Well, certain things that's appropriate for, but there's other things that doesn't really do anything. You have to get down to what's really going to, and I hate to say this, but you know it's true, what is going to hurt them, what is going to make them wiggle a little bit, what's going to make them suffer and think about it next time they decide to do that. For instance, the girls, again, in middle school, I believe they were in 8th grade, and I told them that if they weren't ready in the car in the mornings by a certain time, the very first time they were late, they would walk to the bus in the mornings. And it was quite a walk. There was hills involved. So the very first morning, I was in the car. It was time to go. They were a minute late. I didn't take them to the bus stop anymore. They had to walk every single morning. I'm talking if it was 90 degrees. I'm talking if it were 10 degrees. They walked to the bus stop. They whined every morning. They didn't want to. But I said, that's what you get for being late. Same kind of thing with the bus story. I told them if they ever missed the bus coming home, they would be sorry. Well, guess what? They missed the bus one day. So I had to go get them. I was not happy because it inconvenienced me. And as a mom of 4 kids, I don't like to be inconvenienced at all. So if you're going to inconvenience me, I'm going to inconvenience you. So they got home, and it was Brooke and Kaylee. I asked for both of their phones, and I went on their Snapchats. And and they were freaking out. They're like, what are you doing on our Snapchats? Like freaking out. And I did a Snapchat story, and I said, hey, this is Brooke's mom. She missed the bus today. So if you see Brooke at school tomorrow, could you please remind her not to miss the bus? Thank you. And I did the same thing for Kaylee's phone. Okay, so A, that embarrassed them, which I'm fine with. And B, my plan worked. Because when they got to school the next day, all of their friends were like, oh my gosh, that was so funny. Hey, don't miss the bus. Hey, Brooke, don't miss the bus. Kaylee, don't miss the bus. So it kind of got it out there. They kind of got embarrassed. They never missed the bus again. Also that day, I made them write lines. Okay, I used to have to write lines when I was younger, which sounds crazy, but man, it sucked. I had to write line after line after line when I got punished. So I went old school on them that day, and I gave them paper. They had to write different sayings front and back, cover the whole page, 4 pages, front and back. And I actually still have them, which is kind of really funny. But they, because of those 2 instances, they never missed the bus again, period. So I just feel like that always doing one punishment, one form of punishment, isn't always necessarily the right thing. You kind of got to get creative in your punishments. I've learned along the way, and I've done other creative things. And actually, it's fun for you. Thinking of the best way to torture your child. This sounds horrible, doesn't it? But you know what I mean. It's kind of fun. Make them wiggle a little bit. But you also, as a parent, need to think, especially with teenagers and especially with teenage girls, because teenage girls, if you're a woman, you've obviously been a teenage girl, you know, and it's true and it's legit, and some men roll their eyes at this like whatever, but it's true, guys. Teenage girls have raging hormones. Now I know teenage boys do too, but girls are a little bit different. Their hormones are all over the place. I'm telling you, it is cray. 1 minute, and here's the thing. I have 3 teenage girls. I can't get them on the same, I mean, they're kind of on the same cycle, if you know what I mean, as far as periods, I guess. But they're still kind of off too. I feel like they PMS. It's really weird because I can't get everybody happy at the same time. One of them will be happy and on cloud 9, and then one of them is a raging you-know-what, and the other one could just be in her room crying. It's like a circus. I can never have everybody happy at the same time. Their hormones are raging all over the place. It's crazy. And I always tell Jeff, and I've been telling him recently, like, oh my gosh, if I act like that during PMS, I am sorry. I feel so bad, and I apologize to anyone around me because it's insane. But it makes me stop and think, what did I need at that age? So when they're acting crazy, when they're crying for no reason, when they're happy one minute, sad the next minute, slamming the door in your face the next minute, rolling their eyes at you at one minute, I have to pull myself away. Sometimes I don't always do this, and this is where I fail a lot. But I've been trying to recently pull myself away out of the situation and stop and think, what did I need at that age? What did I need? What was I searching for? What was I needing from my mom when I was doing that? And a lot of times, all I needed was her just to be calm and not to react to my craziness. Now, there is a fine line between acting hormonal and being defiant. Okay, and I can tell that in my kids. I can tell when they're being defiant, and I can tell when they're acting out of hormones, and they, honest to God, just can't help it. But sometimes I can identify that, but my emotions and my reaction is still of, you're being defiant, you're being a brat, this is not right. But recently I've been trying to stop and think, they just need me to chill. They just need me to walk away and let them feel, let them deal, let them get over it. Because in 15 minutes, you're going to come back in the room and everything is going to be fine. So try to think about what you needed at that age, which leads me to my next point, which was huge for me growing up. I mean, huge. And I think I've even talked about it before on the podcast, that this was a pivotal thing in my childhood. And again, great parents. I had great parents. I had great, awesome grandparents. But none of them did this, and I needed it. I didn't know I needed it as a child, but I know looking back, that's what I needed, because I still need it as an adult. We all do. But I needed validated. I needed to be able to go to my mom or go to my dad with a problem, crying, mad, whatever, and them to validate it. Because the problem that your kid brings to you, the problem that your kid is crying about, to you might be trivial, might be nothing. Okay, your boyfriend broke up with you. What did you think? You were going to be married to them for the rest of your life? This is not a big deal. So just get over it. It could be worse. That's the worst thing you could say. It could be worse is the worst thing, in my opinion, that you can say to your kid. You have to validate them because to you, their boyfriend, when they're 13 years old, breaking up with them is no big deal. But to them, it's the end of the freaking world. It might not be a big deal to you that Rachel is spreading rumors about them. But to them, it's devastating. So you have to think on their level and validate it. And make every single problem that they have real. And understand that it is real to them. And try to sympathize and try to help them through it. I think that's the biggest thing I learned from my parent, and that's the biggest thing I think I've done for my kids. And I think that's the main reason why we're so close. And I think that's the main reason why they open up to me as much as they do. Because I don't always do it perfectly. And I may slip every once in a while and not validate, but I always circle back around and do it. That is one thing that I am confident that I do. Because it's the one thing that I know I needed as a child growing up, is to be validated. It's huge. Their problems mean something to them. Validated. Another thing that I try not to do, and man, this is hard. Like I said, middle school is rough. There is so much girl drama in middle school. You won't even believe it if you haven't been there. If you've been there already, you know it's true. And the hardest thing is to not get in the middle of it. Don't be that parent. Please don't be that parent that gets in the middle of the girl drama, that calls the other parents, that texts the other kids, that gets in the middle of it and tries to fix it. Like I said before, let them get through it. Now, obviously, there's a line. If there's violence, if there's major threats, something like that, yeah, you got to get in the middle. If somebody's threatening my child physically, I'm going to get in the middle. But if it's just a natural middle school thing, they're mean, they're spreading rumors, they're starting fights, you have to let your kid figure it out. And that's when I said before where I went to bed crying, a lot of times that's why. Because my daughters would come to me and say XYZ was happening, and it made me mad. It made me hurt. I didn't want that to be happening to them. I wanted to go in there and fix it. I wanted to call that girl's mom and say, what is wrong with your daughter? But I'm not going to do that. Don't be that parent, because I've had parents call me saying, what's going on? Why are they doing this? And I've literally had to tell them, I respect you and I understand that you're upset, but I'm not getting in the middle of it. These girls need to figure it out on their own, because we're not teaching them anything. Maddie's getting ready to go to college. I can't go with her. I can't go help her through all of the problems that she's going to come against. Going into the workplace, I'm not going to be there when they go work with other women, because women are petty almost all the time. We're just like that. It's just the way we are. There's always going to be girl drama. It's not just in middle school. It's not just in high school. There's girl drama in the workplace. And you can't go have your mom fight all your battles for you. So let them learn. Don't get in the middle of girl drama, no matter how much you want to, no matter how much you think you can help, no matter if you think you have the answer, no matter if little Rachel's mom is your best friend, don't get in the middle of it, because then you're not going to be best friends with Rachel's mom anymore. I promise. It's ruined some friendships I've seen. Anyway, moving on. Another thing that is huge is complimenting. Compliment them often. Teenage girls in general, even women, have very low self-esteem, very low confidence. We need compliments, and there's nothing better, in my opinion, than getting a compliment from your mom or from your dad. Even if it's something simple like, that shirt looks really pretty on you with your eyes. Something like that. And especially dads. I mean, obviously I'm not a dad, but I think that teenage girls thrive on getting compliments from their fathers and their mothers. But it's a big deal. So compliment them often. Another thing that's really hard, and has been really hard for me, and I still to this day struggle with this daily, is finding the balance between being their parent and being their friend. And I think that we've talked about this before on the podcast, but I'm going to talk about it just for a second again. Finding that balance. Okay, so obviously I have boundaries, I have rules, I have expectations that I set for my kids because I'm their parent. There's no if, and, or but. This is how it's happening, and I'm your parent. But there's a fine line in being a dictator like that and being a person who is not really their friend. I would say friend. I do think that I'm friends with my girls. We're very close. But first and foremost, I'm their parent. So as long as you are doing what I expect of you, you're following my rules, and you're respecting me, we can be, I guess, friends, so to speak. And I think that I do a decent job with that, but I do struggle with it a lot. Sometimes I see myself backing down because I just want to keep the peace, or I just want to be the mom that lets him do it. I'm just going to be honest. I think we all struggle with that. But you have to be careful with being too much of their friend and not enough of their parent. And that's something, again, that I'm still learning with, especially now with my 18-year-olds. They both still live under my roof. So I expect them to still follow my rules. But they are 18. They are adults. So there's this fine line between what I allow them to do and what I expect them to do, if that makes sense. But, if you're still living under my roof, I'm sorry. You still have to follow my rules. Point blank. And they know that. And they actually do a really, really good job of that. Now, listen, Kaylee's turning 18 tomorrow, so we'll see if she turns this little attitude on me that I'm 18, I can do what I want. But so far, Maddie has done a really good job with it, except for the point of she knows everything and I know nothing. But that's just the way that it's going to be. So I just wanted to share some of this with you guys. Again, I'm not a perfect parent. I am learning every single day. But I thought some of these things that I'm going through, since I do have 3 teenage girls, might help you if you have a teenager. It might give you some insight if you are having tweens. What is a tween? I don't even really know. Like, I guess an 11-year-old or a 12-year-old or something. What you're getting ready to come up against, and try to give you tips on how I've had to learn. I've had to learn as I go. And again, like I said, I'm still learning on a daily basis how to deal with all this, how to juggle all this, and how to remain sane. Because there are many days when I sit down at night and I honest to goodness think, I don't think that I'm going to survive the teenage years, because we have some really bad days sometimes. There's some really major things that we've had to go through with these girls, but we've gotten through them. And at the end of the day, we're still here together. Hang on a second. Hold on, I'm coming. Hold on. Speaking of teenagers, just a second. Hang on, I'm coming. Hey, girls. Hey. I'm doing a podcast by myself. You want to join me for just a second?
Sure.
You know what we're talking about?
What? Oh, more shut the door.
Shut the door. We are talking about... I don't care. You can take Callie out. So we're talking about... I'm talking about raising teenage girls.
She don't want to leave.
All right, just leave her in here.
Aww.
Listen, I'm talking about by myself, obviously. I'm talking about raising teenage girls and the struggles that I go through. Your makeup looks really pretty. But it's a hard job. I feel like I'm going to pull my hair out half the time. But I think I do a decent job.
You do. You do. You do a very good job.
Thanks. Are you just saying that?
No.
I was just talking about how you have to balance being a parent and kind of being a friend that you can talk to. Somebody you can open up to and trust to talk to, but also be a parent.
That's a good way to describe it.
It's hard.
Because they want to tell you stuff, but they don't want to be scared of you.
Right. You want your kids to tell you stuff, even stuff that they may get in trouble for, and they know they probably will, but not be so fearful, you know what I'm saying, to where they don't want to tell you. I want my kids to be at a party and maybe do something that they're not supposed to do, but be comfortable enough to call me, knowing I might be disappointed, knowing I might be a little mad, but feel confident enough that I'm going to keep you safe and I'm going to get you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about. And these two girls that just came in, Maddie, who I said was 18 and going to college in a few weeks. I'm so sad. You're so excited. I was so sad. And her best friend, Lauren, who's also going to college sooner. When are you going?
A month from today.
What?
The 15th.
Oh, my goodness. It's very sad. But I hope I've done everything a parent should do to provide you with knowledge and life lessons to be able to be a responsible adult at college. Maddie's a responsible. I think Maddie's very responsible. I think you're responsible. I mean, obviously.
I didn't give you that look.
Yes, you did. You said.
Everybody obviously.
I mean, if I give you something and tell you to hold it for 9 months, you're holding it for 9 months, 8 months, whatever. Don't touch it, Maddie. She will. She'll keep it and she'll know exactly where it's at. She's responsible in that aspect.
But she is responsible. I mean, everybody makes stupid decisions and everybody does stupid things they're not supposed to do. I've already talked about this on the podcast. But at the end of the day, you're a very responsible person. And I trust you with anything.
Aww.
So anyway.
How sweet.
I do trust you. I don't think you make the best decisions all the time. But nobody does. I don't make the best decisions all the time. Everybody screws up. Everybody messes up. And everybody goes through phases in their life and does stupid things. And they'll look back on it and they'll be like, it was stupid. Mm-hmm. Or maybe you won't. I don't know. But I'm so glad you could join me for the end of my podcast.
Oh.
Maddie still has to use my shower. That's so sad.
I know. It's a lot of stairs.
It's a lot of stairs. That's
Till August, and then I'll have my own shower.
You'll be showering with how many people?
One.
Oh, you have a shower in your room?
We have a bathroom.
How lucky! I had to shower with 20-some, 40-some girls.
Okay, next year.
When you'll be that next year.
Yeah.
Have fun with that. Have fun with that.
I get an apartment.
Oh my goodness! All right, well I think we're done here. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. Have a great shower.
I will. Thank you.
All right,
I'm
I'm done with this podcast by myself. It's really weird podcasting by myself, but hopefully it wasn't too bad. All right, peace out, y'all.